coming, everyone. I really appreciate it. First, I'm going to explain you the structure of the workshop. After my 15 minutes of talk, I will give you some time for questions and feedback. Don't worry, this video is just going to be seen by my teacher, so it's okay. No one is going to see it. I'm not going to force anyone to talk in public either, but I will really appreciate it because I'm also going to be great based on this feedback. So, welcome again. Thanks for joining. Today, I'm going to talk you about a topic that has completely changed my life. For me, hacking my mind was what changed the person I was, the results I was getting, and even my personality. And I'm pretty sure you can all experience the same by hacking or reprogramming your mind. For the past years, I was struggling with my personal development. I was not seeing any change at all. I didn't stop setting goals, and more goals, but I was not improving. And the reason why I was not seeing any change was because I was trying to change my life without changing myself first. And nothing changes if you don't change. You need to know that if you really want to make a change in your life, it is impossible to transform your external reality if you don't first transform your inner reality. Probably you all have read many stuff about personal development, right? But you still feel stuck, lost, disorientated, or even with personal dissatisfaction. You feel as if nothing really changes. You are going in cycles, repeating the same habits over and over again. But this is completely normal. It is completely normal to feel like this because there is too much information out there. There is too much information about this topic, but there is not a single guide on how to take control of your personal growth. There is not a single guide on which steps are the most important ones in order to take control of your personal growth and have a successful progress. And this is exactly my main goal with this workshop. My main goal with this workshop is to make you understand what are the three key pillars of personal growth. What are the three most important steps in order to have a successful progress. You might be wondering also, why are you my target audience? I have chosen you as my target audience because, as you may know, our brain keeps developing until we turn the age of 25. So, this stage of our life, more or less, is crucial in order to build habits, save our mindset, and most importantly, to understand who you are and who you want to become. So, as I said, you just need 3 steps, 3 key pillars in order to have a real success. And this is what I call the formula PSC: psychology, self-awareness, and communication. Psychology rules our lives. Whether we want it to admit it or not, everything starts here. Everything starts in our mind. Which means you are responsible for creating your own reality. Self-awareness is the most virtuous quality you can develop. It's the key to understanding what kind of reality you want to build. And finally, communication is the most powerful skill you can learn. It's the ability that will allow you to reach and build the reality that you deeply desire. So in simple words, thanks to psychology, we know that we are responsible for our own reality. Thanks to self-awareness, we know what type of reality you want to build. And thanks to communication, you can actually create this reality. We are constantly thinking. We are thinking all the time. The problem is that we barely stop to analyze those thoughts, which leads to a serious lack of emotional control. Basically, because we don't examine what is going through our minds. And you know what happens when we don't examine what is going through our minds? That you let your mind control you. You let your emotions control you. you are being controlled by your subconscious mind. And of course, you get easily stressed. And this stress can even manifest in physical illness. I'm not going to go into neuroscience, but this is more than proven. When you are stressed, cortisol gets higher, and therefore your immune system gets weaker. That's why you get sick easier. So the question is, how can we prevent from feeling so mentally drained? The first step is to become aware of our thoughts. Be honest, how many times a day do you actually stop to observe the inner dialogue that you are having with yourself? How many times a day do you stop those thoughts? Do you stop to observe those thoughts? Not many, right? No one has explained us that our thoughts shape how we visualize and how we manifest. In simple words, what you believe, you create. And this is not only a Mr. Wonderful phrase. It has a whole explanation behind. Thoughts create emotions. The way you think creates the way you feel. Emotions creates actions. The way you feel creates the way you act. And finally, the way you act creates your own reality. So, the first step we can all start integrating in our personal development is to become aware of our thoughts. By pausing to analyze those thoughts, you become aware of where are you placing your focus. And where you focus, it expands. It's that simple. If I have a negative message in my mind about my relationships, about my money, or even about myself, unconsciously, in real life, I'm going to look for this situation that prove what my mind is saying. That's why it's so important that we need to be aware of our thoughts. And of course, I'm not saying that we need to live in a constant state of positivism or euphoria. No. What I'm saying is that we need to identify our limiting beliefs. This is the key to change our self-concept. At the end of the day, you become what you believe. So, once that we have identified our limiting belief, the question should be, how can I overcome my personal dissatisfaction, right? I'm not gonna lie. For a long time, I didn't know how to answer to this question. I went crazy searching about neuroscience and how the mind works. But this is a huge mistake I believe most of us we do. We try to focus on the core of the emotions instead of searching for the root, for the reason behind this personal dissatisfaction. And you know where is the answer to your personal dissatisfaction? The reason behind your personal dissatisfaction is in the second part of the formula. Is in your lack of self-awareness. It is normal that you feel lost or with personal dissatisfaction if you don't truly know yourself. You can try to control your emotions as much as you want, but you will truly never succeed until you have a deep understanding of yourself. That's why the greatest virtue of life is knowing yourself. You need to be able to define yourself as a person in order to face any challenge in life. And you know what truly defines you? It is not your values, your personality, it's not even your strength. What truly defines you is your purpose in life, is the reason behind your existence, is the why behind your being. I'm going to explain you shortly Victor Frank's story. Victor was an Holocaust survivor. He survived to the hardest Nazi concentration camps. And you know why he survived? He survived because he had a clear sense of purpose. What kept him alive was staying focused on the hope that when he was going to be free from those concentration camps, he was going to achieve his goal of becoming a psychiatrist. And this is the power of having a clear purpose. When you know where you want to go, you become resilient to overcome any challenge, any obstacle. That's why who has a why to live can endure anyhow. So once that you have a clear life goal, that you have a clear why, the question should be, how do I get there? No? Well, each of us here in this class, we have a different life goal, a different why. But there is just one thing in common we all have here, which is the opportunity to communicate. Communication, as I said before, is the most powerful skill you can develop. Basically, because it's the ability that will allow you to reach and build the reality that you deeply desire. Think it for a second. For everything in life, for absolutely everything, we need the interaction with other human beings. And the problem is that in life, we don't get what we deserve. We get what we are able to negotiate. That's why it's so important that we learn how to communicate, how to inspire, and especially how to connect with others. So now, you have a post-it in front of you. I would like you to answer to this question. What do you think makes communication great? What do you think is the most important aspect that makes communication effective? There's no right or wrong answer, so don't worry. I will give you 2 minutes. Less. I think 1 is more than enough. Individualiteo. You have it? Olin, also? Yeah? Okay, now could you show me your post-it? I want to see it. Can you read it out loud if it's possible? Okay. It's a good answer. I like it. Can I see yours?
I think I heard it wrong. I said that listening to both sides of the conversation makes communication great and being open-minded.
I like it also. And there's something more specific, like do you think or something that makes communication different, a huge impact on your words when you are talking?
I do know that voicing a problem helps me a lot, as in putting my problem into words.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you voice it to somebody else, then you get a new perspective. And yeah, you can also share your experience and the other person sharing their experience and get a new, again, perspective.
Yeah. That's good. But when it comes to communication, to connect with another person, one-to-one, what do you think that is gonna make a huge difference on the way you are